Before I begin, I wanted to mention a funny observation, something that I've noticed in my entire year here coming to Hillel, in an attempt to loosen everybody up. Everyone looks a little stressed and a little tense. Relax, it's Shabbos. Be happy, let's see some smiles. So here it goes. I always notice that everyone comes in for services and they sit in the back rows as far from the front as possible. Everybody comes in, looks for the nearest seat from the back, and takes it. Admit it. We all do it in shul. I do it, you do it. Has anyone else noticed this? It must be a Jewish thing, because in my synagogue, it happens exactly the same way. Why do we do it? Are we saving the first two rows for Elijah? Is it because we're afraid of the Torah? It has too much ruach and we can't get near it? I don't know. But what I do know is that it's a time-honored tradition, and I think that it's worth noting. So now that you have that observation to think about, it's time for the actual D'var Torah. This week's parsha is Behar Bechukotai. Quite a mouthful. It's not quite as good as my Torah portion, Shlach Lecha, but it comes close. Leaving my silliness aside, this parsha is a very important one. Now I know. You've heard that they're all important. Everyone who gives a D'var Torah says, mine is important. I've never seen a rabbi get up on Saturday morning and say, this portion is really not important. There's nothing you really need to know, and then they sit down. But I'm going to argue tonight that this one is extra important. In the Parsha, God promises that if we, the Jewish people, keep His commandments, we will enjoy material prosperity and dwell securely in our homeland. But He also delivers a harsh word and a harsh warning of the exile, persecution, and other evils that will befall us if we abandon our covenant with Him. The text says in English, "Even when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, nor will I ever abhor them, to destroy them and break my covenant with them, for I am the Lord, their God." Now all of this seems mainstream and ordinary. I'm sure you've heard it time and time again, 20 times before. If we follow God's laws, He'll bless us, and He'll add us to the dean's list. If we don't follow His laws, we'll receive academic probation. This seems problematic to me, though. Throughout all of Jewish history, groups have risen up against us to kill us. How do you explain that? And I thank God for all the miracles that He has allowed us to survive. And we all know the saying at each holiday, someone tried to kill us, they fail, we eat. But here is the difficulty I want to begin to approach. Now I admit I don't have all the answers to this. My D'var tonight is only the beginning of the conversation. But I'm saying it because I think that it's thought-provoking. It is this. If God told us He would bless us as long as we remained faithful, how can an event as tragic as the Holocaust be explained? 6 million of our people were murdered. That doesn't seem like a blessing. Does this mean we were not faithful in the previous years before the Holocaust? And the Holocaust was our punishment? Remember, the text said, God promises that if we, the Jewish people, keep His commandments, we will enjoy material prosperity and dwell securely in our homeland. But He also delivered the harsh word of warning of the exile, persecution, and other evils that would befall us if we abandoned our covenant with him. Here's another example. Our numerous expulsions from European countries. Was that a result of our unfaithfulness and loss of our Jewishness? Was it God's way of telling us to get ourselves as a people back together and come back to the faith? But here's another issue. When God says that we will dwell safely in our homeland as long as we follow his commandments, does he simply mean any country in which we reside, or only Israel? If he means only the land of Israel, does this mean we will be exiled from the land if we forget his commandments? Will God allow the Israelis of today to be exiled by Palestinians and Arabs if we forget him and forget our laws? Truly questions to ponder. I do have good news for you, though. There is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. As long as we follow in the Via Hafta and keep God close to our hearts and minds and our doorposts, we'll never have to find out. If we continue to follow his 613 commandments, continue to be the biggest mensches we can be, continue to give tzedakah, and admit that we're not perfect, and commit to doing better, we'll only have to face the positive consequences. Shabbat Shalom. Good luck following those commandments. I look forward to following them with you. You notice I said we, I never said you. I'm including myself. And just know that if you need any help along your journey, there are plenty of rabbis out there who get paid the big bucks to help you find your way back. Shabbat Shalom.